One day during this Lent, we decided to watch the Joseph movie. Soon after pondering just as Israel went to Egypt and how Joseph's life was portrayed in such detail in the movie, it made me wonder how would it be nice to see the life of Moses in detail and Israel's exile from Egypt, how it went with him in the palace of Pharaoh during his life, and also many episodes of Moses and the wilderness with the people appeared in the liturgy of the hours and the office readings, therefore making me even eager to figure out about him in a movie about his life and Israel. So a few days later, we again feel inspired to watch a movie together. And it turns out we landed maybe having a check on Moses, to my surprise. But the Moses movie that we firstly chose was Moses, Gods and Kings. After an hour later, with frequent interruptions and slow loading of the movie, we gave up on it. Honestly, from my side, this was an entertainment movie. Not totally was it happening as in real life, biblical life with Moses. Therefore, we decided that we'll try it again tomorrow. But this time, we will see a true story movie about Moses. And how different was this true story movie from that of entertainment? This one surely fills your soul and does not leave you thirsty. Brother and sister and I watched the movie intently. How human was Moses, with his own weaknesses, but then overpowered by God's grace. Witnessing the disputes and the trials the people had, all of us had something spoken to us by the Holy Spirit through this movie. At the end of it, sharing our thoughts about it, Sister told us what the Holy Spirit revealed to her, saying, paraphrased, just like they were in the land of slavery, but then God Himself came and brought them out, and how throughout the walk on the wilderness, you can see that as we once were in slavery in the land of sin, but God Himself came and redeemed us out of that land by His own hand. Then we entered into the walking with God, where there are many trials and testing in the wilderness. That's the land of life, walking with the Lord. Some, although are part of the chosen ones, part of the people, do not wholeheartedly believe in Him, although they have seen so much of His deeds and actions. They keep on complaining and are bitter, stubborn, and hard. Some even wishing to go back to the land of slavery to Egypt, which is like wishing to go back to the land of slavery to sin, rather than to be in the midst of a trying wilderness where their comforts are challenged. Sister continued. Where they had to make the choice whether to side with Moses or the man who defied them, some although chose to side with Moses, later on got swallowed up when the earth opened, because then they complained of how Moses was leading them, wishing to set a new leader chosen by themselves instead. The ones who made it to the promised land were the ones whose hearts burned for God. Moses said to Joshua when he was about to go to Mount Nebo and die there, that he wished the people to follow the law because they love the law and the Lord. Not that they would follow the law because it is a rule to be followed, just as if with the mind of a slave. Their mindsets of slavery would need to be changed, as the Lord has set them free from slavery to the taskmaster rule. And so Joshua, Caleb, and the youth of that generation made it to the promised land. The promised land is like heaven, the promised home. When Sister shared this with us, it dawned on me later on about my own life until now, in one's walk with God. God has redeemed us with His own blood and brought us out from the land of our sinful life. Then we entered into the land of walking with Him. Just like the Israelites, they had to follow the leading without them knowing the plan of God for them, so to say, where they would go, what they would eat, what they would have, this or that. They had to have faith and trust in His leading. The Lord was in the midst of them, so real, so close to touch, But even so they grumbled and complained so much against him and the leading, which is Moses and Aaron. And so I thought, God has been so good to me all this time I started to walk with him, even before he kept and protected me. Man, I have complained so much myself when things didn't go well or when my comfort zone was challenged, seeking so much my own wants and comforts rather than remember his goodness and faithfulness to me. How well he led me, how much he protected and delivered me, the many times he forgave me. I saw I was no different from those in the land of the wilderness. So many inner and outer complaints. In this life I also don't know the plan of the Lord ahead. I only know what He reveals to me. Therefore, I and you too have to follow the leading in faith and trust, having confidence that since He brought you out with such a strong hand and mercy, He surely will be faithful till the end. His blessing for them is a land flowing with milk and honey. And so it is with us, the land of heaven, flowing abundantly with so much milk and honey. Many fall along the way because of their choices in the end, but those who endure until the end will gain the crown of life and enter the promised land, which is gladly awaiting them. This whole walk on earth is to be filled with love for your God and His precepts, obeying them because you love Him and His law of love. If you don't obey Him from the heart, but obey the rules in a mechanical way of thinking, it won't go deep and far. It also reminds us of the Pharisees. For those who did not obey the law given from the heart, they fell away and could not see the heart of the law when He came and stood before their faces. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all of your soul, all of your strength and mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Let's not turn away to any idols, as they did with the molten calf, bowing and yielding down to it. In our case, it would be not to bow and yield down to the idol of complaining, so to put it. Keeping heart, mind, and eyes on the Lord leading us through this wilderness, because He is here taking care of you in all wants and needs life makes you face. But at the end you will live in a land overflowing with much rich goodness, remembering all He has done for you and how He brought you out of the land of slavery to sin.